new series, new year, new series called Coffee with VlookUp Mentors. And this is our first session, and I'm happy to have a coffee with you, even though you are in Hong Kong and I'm in Singapore. So let's raise a toast to
Yeah, virtual
happy
cheers.
Lunar New Year, today being the second day of the Lunar New Year, and we are in that part of the world where it is celebrated very widely. And with that, let's start our coffee chat.
Yeah, happy year of the water rabbit. Good luck to you and the team.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So it's I just wanted to keep it pretty informal and just have a very informal chat about experiences and motivation that many of our mentors have, and we are because of them, because of mentors like you. That's our biggest strength. And wanted to give a peek to our members and our growing community, which is now 400 plus, into what motivated you to be a mentor, what role you see as a mentor you are playing, and what motivated you to join, especially VlookUp as a platform, as a mentor.
Right, right. I think let's split the conversation. So let me talk about the platform rather than about mentoring in general to begin with. And so when I met you in Singapore in March 2022, it seems like really long back now. As I say, it was only last year, but it seems like a long time back for me. Three things stood out for me specifically. One, I'm part of a wide range of mentoring programs, and what I really liked about VLOOKUP is how we have thought about the structure of how mentees will find the mentors and how technology can drive the matching, the connections, and the interactions. It's also organized domain wise. So, in this fast paced world, mentees are able to also narrow down quickly on the mentors and so can have meaningful conversations. So, that's one. The second part was I was really blown away by the thoughtfulness on the from a mentoring side. So as I explored it, I can see that it's being put together that mentors who have active corporate careers and hence are time deficient in that sense. Um, it's easy to navigate. It's easy on the admin tasks around the platform. It's really absolute no brainer kind of a thing. And the third thing is that, again, as against a traditional, say, a 1 year mentoring only, you sign up for 1 year, you need to stay engaged. There are options for just in time mentoring, or issue based mentoring, or domain expertise based mentoring. So I think it's very time efficient for the mentors, and for the mentees, it's need based clarity as well.
That's lovely. I think our vision was always to keep it flexible, so that there's a flexibility from mentor side. They're actually volunteering their time and effort. So the less admin heavy or the less kind of obligatory we can make it, the more it will be attractive to mentors. I have been in corporate world, so I understand the whole time pressure. Plus, we also wanted to keep it specific to the need of the mentee. A lot of mentoring programs do not work because someone else decides what their need is and who they should be mentored by. And VLOOKUP wanted to break that and say, you decide what your need is, and you choose who do you think, based on their expertise and journey and stories that you are reading, can be of some help to you. So that was the key intention. And I know that we broke the question in two parts. So tell me your motivation behind being a mentor.
Yeah. I think, I'm going back to my days at ANZ. And when I moved to Bahrain in 2001, 2002, I had lost touch with a lot of my colleagues. And then after 5 years in Bahrain, and that time, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything was like really just coming up. It was not so much there. WhatsApp, though, was not there only. So after 5 years in Bahrain, we moved to Hong Kong, and a few years of living into Hong Kong, I went for a Shankar Mahadevan concert. And I remember this really clearly because I ran into an ex ANZ colleague of mine. She was a few years younger to me, and she said, And we said, oh, we've lost touch, let's catch up and all that. And she said, Soundari, I used to look up to you at how driven you were. And I was waiting to see how you managed to navigate your work life past your kids and all that. And I was hoping to take notes. So I was really disappointed when you quit the bank and took a break and moved to Bahrain. And when she said that, it was one of those, oh, wow. And it really made me think that sometimes as women professionals, you don't realize how many people are watching you. And equally, it made me think that maybe at some level I lacked role models to whom I could go to and talk, or sponsors within the organization who could guide me through my pivotal moments.
Yeah.
So, I always link it that I want two things. One, I want to be the mentor who's that thinking partner and a sounding board for others. And two, about building your networks. Otherwise, it's got to become a really lonely journey.
True.
And in a very selfish way, maybe the joy of being part of somebody's success story.
Yeah.
Right? It's really a high, but I think more on the give side. Let's focus more on the give side rather than the high side necessarily. So I think that's my real motivation for trying to be there. Sometimes I feel I don't know to say no, so I'm like saying yes to a lot. But I think it's possible to build it in and really give that kind of time. Be more the whole thing on time efficiency of the platform, which is why is a very appealing thing.
Yeah, and I will plug in one more point there, that it's so flexible that there are times you can mark yourself unavailable. In the platform, you can say, 6 months are going to be difficult for me. I am marking myself unavailable. And that, so that unavailability of time shouldn't dampen your motivation to mentor someone. And as you said, the need to give, I think all of us are at a stage of life and in our corporate career where it is very fulfilling to be part of someone's story, or it is very fulfilling to share what we have learned. And I guess that's the best way of passing it on, that I think, within my corporate professional capacity. So moving on to the next one, you have done mentoring via VlookUp. You have mentored. I think your mentee was based in a different country, not in Hong Kong. So how your experience has been in that regard, and also I'm curious to hear about a cross location mentoring, because the VLOOKUP is also promoting mentoring cross borders and cross countries. So how did you feel about it?
Yeah. I think all my mentoring programs, other than the one that I'm running here in Hong Kong, which is one program called Empower, all the other programs are all cross border. So once we go beyond the point of saying, oh, I wish I could meet in person and I wish I could see you, kind of a thing, once we go beyond that, it just moves on. You do build, normally I start with a chemistry meeting with all my mentees, which is just a casual conversation, getting to know our likes, our interests, the books that we read, the hobbies we have, and all that. So you feel really connected to the person a little bit more, on starting from a non-professional area and then moving on to the professional journey. And at the end of the chemistry conversation, definitely zoning in on talking about objectives. What do you hope to get out of the conversations? Be it 1, 2, 3, 4, as many conversations as it will lead. So I was very lucky with my mentee. She was based in Singapore and she was very focused in her objectives and goals. So she had a couple of destinations in her mind when she came in. She had thought of some pathways, and what she needed was to think out loud on some of the ways, widen the options and the ways to get there. For instance, she was looking for ideas around her own career planning. Are there any frameworks that she could refer? She was like looking at her research expertise and saying, okay, what if I look at consulting? So really, and looking at can I manage my relationships as I move into this corporate workspace, both my personal and professional relationships. So we discussed specific tools around stakeholder mapping. We talked about intentional networking and all that, and all credit to her, very open-minded, and her ability actually to translate it quickly into action. So we had this conversation with these frameworks and all that, and we discussed about it. And I asked her how would she like. A week later, I got a WhatsApp message from her saying, "Hi Soundari, a quick update. I'm going for these two networking events, a lunch and a Zoom chat, and this is very specific to her stakeholders that she had mapped." So, I mean, I think it was amazing in that sense. We still are connected. So sometimes do feel that all the mentorships in that sense, you learn from them, because this was a totally new area that she was working on. I was not familiar with it. She had published some papers, she had published some articles. So I asked her for the links and I learned a little bit more from it. And these are friendships for life.
Yeah, and the platform allows the mentors and mentee to stay connected forever through our past mentee and messaging features. So, yes, these are connections for life. And also, these young women who are, getting into the workforce or have been there for a few years, I guess having the relevant connections for a long time becomes very important. And I love what you mentioned about chemistry chat. That's interesting. And maybe I should get mentored by you on intentional networking and stakeholder mapping. I guess at some point I do need that as the founder to see, how to take VLOOKUP forward. But coming to the last segment, what I call the rapid fire, not that I'm borrowing from some, chat shows. I'm shamelessly, it's fine. Your 3 pointers for aspiring mentors.
Yeah. For the mentors, definitely, please make time. So I look at networking, and I'll put the 3 pointers in one, on how are you giving, how are you sharing, how are you helping. So a lot of people sometimes come out and say that, networking, it feels awkward. I'm an introvert. I'm this, I'm that. We tend to put all those labels around that. And I totally get it. I learned this new word over the weekend. I was at dinner at a friend's place, called social battery. So each of our social battery drains and charges up very differently.
Uh-huh.
So I get it about introversion and extroversion. An extrovert can also need the social battery charging. Introvert can also need that. But if we look at it beyond ourselves and say, how am I giving? How am I sharing? And how am I helping others? Then in some ways, it takes the pressure out of you. It removes you from the equation and it puts the other person there. Then it's much easier to go out and be yourself. I say that for the work that I do on personal branding as well, that, forget about you. Don't wanna, there is, all of us carry some bit of expertise. All of us are reading a lot of content. So just share that content, share it in a conversation, share it in a relevant way. And that's from the mentor's point of view. I think what is really important is, like I said, that example that I shared about that friend of mine. You don't know the kind of impact that you're capable of leaving.
Yes.
And sometimes, the opportunities are not presented to you in a perfect way. It's not in a nice little box with a red ribbon on top and all that, right? They're messy, they're confusing, they're hard, they challenge you. But challenge is what keeps us going. So, open those boxes, let yourself be open to those opportunities, and you never know where the world will take you.
I love the framework of what I call GSH now, giving, sharing, and helping. And as you mentioned about that, you never know. I launched We Look Up 1.5 years back in July 2021. And in this 1.5 years, the number of people that I've met who have passionately came forward and have supported it from mentor side or mentee side, I couldn't have imagined, like, such amazing, like you being one of them, such amazing. So a common passion or a common goal has connected us so beautifully. And as I tell always to my mentees or anyone, worst case, the other person will say no. You don't lose anything, but you try, there could be a chance that he or she says yes. So go for it. On that note, I think that's most of the time my advice to my mentees is. So I'm moving to the segue where what is your top three for a mentee or a woman who is aspiring to get into the workforce or is in workforce, but kind of feeling that she may need some sort of connection guidance.
Mm-hmm. I think early stages, later stages. So I'm going to just combine both of it. One is define success for yourself. You have to make your own path. Especially these days with so much of social media and everything else. Oh, they are doing this, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's very easy to get distracted.
Yeah.
So find ways to cut out your own noise and define what success means to you. The second part is, and that's more as we go along, manage technology. Learn how to use certain social media platforms. Be open to discovering new things, and choose your platform. You don't need to be everywhere. If it's Insta for you, it's Insta for you. If it's LinkedIn for you, it's LinkedIn for you. Whatever your platform is, depending upon the nature of your work, manage that technology. Learn to harness it to empower yourself, not to be a blind follower of that platform or technology, but to empower yourself. And I think as you go along, all of us have, I know that you felt that, and I've felt that as well. Build your support networks, both at work and at home. Beat your partner. If you have a partner in your life, have that conversation. Decide how you want to both manage your careers. And there is no right or wrong. It's what works best for you. You don't need to be guided by what everybody else is doing again. But have that conversation as you get into your early stages. How do you want to drive it forward? What is the kind of support that will be required now? What may be the support that will be required later? And these are some of the questions I think mentees can ask mentors who've been there. Again, it need not be what you follow, because you need to lead it to your and structure it to your life, but ask those questions. And I think I've benefited by asking questions from my mentees as well. Learning new ways of dealing with things, not getting stuck in my own old age ideas or whatever. So, I mean, there was this lady, Miku Hirano, who's the CEO of Cinnamon, this thing called Cinnamon. She talks about not fixating your dreams with your current mind, and don't be limiting your abilities. So constantly update your dreams so that as you grow, you evolve and learn, and so do your dreams. And that's true for both mentors and mentees.
Absolutely. And another catchphrase of the day, update your dreams. So I think I have learned few things. One is chemistry chat, give, share, and help, and of course, update your dreams. It's very important. And of course, we all know about reverse mentoring, that when we connect with the mentee, not just we share and give, we also receive a lot in return. And perhaps that's what keeps a basic human need is connection, isn't it? We all long for connections, whether at work, outside work, in society, as family, and as long as we continue to do our tiny bit in building that connection and building that, enabling others, calendar. That will be great. And quick that's check on all open. And that's the purpose of VlookUp, enabling people to build these connections, enabling mentees to have those relevant connections, and enabling mentors to give, share, help, and build those connections. So that has been a fantastic chat with you, Soundari. I know we have gone a little over time, but it's okay. We have so many nuggets from this chat that we are going to, we would love to share with our community, and they would benefit a lot from your advice.
Oh, no, thank you so much, Kat. I mean, the platform was how I got to know you. So I'm really happy to make that connection as well. And I'm looking forward to the other coffee chats to see what I can learn from the other mentors as well. So have a wonderful season of coffee chats.
Thank you. We have started two things. One is called Breakfast with Leaders, which is a physical session every second Wednesday of the month, 8 to 10 of us. Maximum size is 10. We meet in a space, and our next is happening on 8th February. There we talk face to face, and then the coffee season. So this is my New Year resolution, is to connect more.
Excellent. I'm happy to be part of that connection.
Thank you. Thank you, Soundari. And you have a good day ahead.